Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside. Spending some time getting to know the plants that are growing in my forest. It's an exciting time of year, right? We've had some intense heat and we've had some moisture, and I'm starting to see a few of our fungal friends. But not everything I find is a true fungus. Yeah. I want to spend a moment and share with you a little bit about what I know of this plant. Yeah. All right. This is Monotropa Uniflora. Yeah. Otherwise known as ghost pipe. Yeah. It is a plant. Yeah, most people confuse it as a fungus or a mushroom because of its lack of color. Yeah. It is in fact a plant, but it's a herbaceous parasite. All right, it's parasitic. It doesn't have any chlorophyll. It does not participate in the miracle of photosynthesis. All right. So, what makes it grow? Most plants have green leaves, able to use chlorophyll, which we associate with the color green, to convert solar energy into food. This plant does not do that, right? So what makes it a parasite is that it relies on its relationship or leaching of the mycorrhizal network. All right, so the mycorrhizal network is a fungal network that is, just right there at the surface of the soil. That is a communication fungus. It helps relay information and resources among all the plants in the forest, specifically the trees, right? But all plants, anything that it's connected to. It is a vast network, right? Still being studied. And this plant itself is being studied for its medicinal purposes, all right? Traditionally, the ancestral and traditional tenders of the land would have harvested this for its healing properties, not healing properties, sorry, for its pain relief. All right, so it does have some aspects in its chemistry that allow for treating pain. All right, so not necessarily heating, but treating pain. Now, it's more than just physical pain, although it's been used for specifically eye treatments, but also to help relieve, because it's the way it reduces pain is through relaxation. So it's traditionally also used for anxiety, depression, getting over grief, trauma, all right? But also the stress that comes with any form of addiction, all right? So hangovers, things like that, all right? So the withdrawal symptoms of that. So the challenge with studying this plant by modern scientists is that it's not like other plants where you can just pop it in the soil, give it the resources it needs, food and water, sunlight. Because it relies on the mycorrhizal network, that is a small factor that changes its chemistry based on the other living organisms that the mycorrhizal network are feeding. So traditionally, I find it here in a mixed forest. Throughout North America, it can be found from coast to coast, but there are species that also can be found in Asia and South America. So of course, the trees, the mycorrhizal network is the same, but the chemistry of the trees in the soil and the soil types can vary a little bit. So that's what lies in some inconsistencies. So it's a bit of a challenge, but they are recognizing that it's used for pain relief. Now, there are some risks of taking too strong of a concentration over long periods of time, because it does lower blood pressure, it does lower heart rhythms, and taking too much can actually bring those levels down to a dangerous level. All right, so it does help people sleep, calms them, all right, because of that lowering of the blood pressure and the regulating of heart rhythms. But it's meant to be used as a tincture, just add a couple drops, right? So as far as harvesting it this time of year to use it, in deep winter, might be a bit of a challenge. Start to deteriorate, right, and potentially spoil. So that would be a cautionary tale. A little bit of practice there. So in the moment, while it's in season, and it'll grow throughout the season, the rest of this growing season anyway, to be found throughout the forest. I typically find it growing amongst the mixed forest. I won't find it as often in a hardwood stand. I've seen it growing more predominantly where it's got wet feet, right, where it's got a little more diversity, All right, so I've got different types of trees, but there's no mistaking it. There's nothing else like it, unless you find it just popping out of the ground. And there, yeah, if you're only looking at the stem, you might confuse it for other fungus or fungi. But there isn't really anything that's harvestable fungus that'll take on this shape. So the ancestral and traditional tenders of the land would have a story associated with most other living things in the forest. And ghost pipe has its own story where a group of chiefs, tribal leaders, getting together trying to resolve a conflict, and they just couldn't find the middle ground. So there was a lot of debate, there's a lot of emotion, there's no progress. So disappointed by the lack of flexibility and empathy and understanding cooperation, Forest Spirit turned those chiefs into this plant. Now they hang their head in shame. All right, contemplating forced to live in small clusters like this. So very rarely will we find it growing alone like that. But yeah, it's got a little hood with a little core to it. The face bowed in contemplation and shame for their inability to compromise. All right, so like all other relationships in the forest, relationships and people, all right, it requires some good listening, some understanding, some empathy. So just a small metaphor for our lives found here in nature. So I'll take this specimen home, put it in some water. All right, I might try, with enough here, I might just do a little more research, but try putting it in an alcohol solution. All right, so it's this time of year and new things are happening, right? So I notice things, remind myself of things I've forgotten. But the important part is I'm outside, right? Sharing at the wonders and just the awe that is nature. So please go outside. Be curious. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.